Let's get started in another great lesson. This particular principle is by far one of the top 5, if not the one thing you need to add. And my teaching is to help you along your journey, or what I like to say, my faith walk. Because you want to be able to control your life, to direct your life, to live your best life now. And living in this world and the type of life that is around us and being created today, so fast, moving so many different ways, so many strong opinions and personalities, you want to know how to stay in control, stay in power, and see miracles and things happen for you all the time. And if you get this principle down pat, you'll have peace, you'll maintain joy, and you'll maintain your power. And now I want to say that I teach interpretation, revelation, and clarification, bringing history. When I say history, I'm talking about biblical teachings, ancient teachings of truth into today's living, how we can apply it, moving the religious aspect, but bringing it into the spiritual awareness. Knowledge is power. Wisdom is the principal thing. And in all you're getting, get an understanding. Now, here's what you must understand. When people see me, I'm a pastor, a motivator, an encourager. I just love helping people, lifting people up, encouraging folk. That's what I do. That makes me happy. But when people meet me for the first time and they don't know me, they ask just a general question they ask anybody else. Well, in a conversation, what do you do for a living? Or do you work? And I say, yes, I do. And then, of course, the next question is, what kind of work you do? And here's my answer always. I work on, not worrying. Many are surprised to hear that, but think it's very interesting and a wise thing to do. But this is what I want to teach you, how to work on, not worrying. And if you stop worrying and being upset and being anxious, as the Bible says, be anxious for nothing. There's a reason for that. Here's how you build your trust. Here's how you build your faith. And here's where you'll let Spirit, Divine Intelligence, God, handle everything. When you trust and get yourself out the way. Now, I always teach there are 2 and 3 in the Bible. When you see 2 of the same scriptures or the same teachings or the same words repeated often that are powerful, that are necessary in principle, that is a key to unlocking the kingdom in your life and having your best life. Now, I do want to tell you also there are 2 of you. That's the best way I can say it for now. You are a physical being and a spiritual being. And once you become aware of your spiritual side, you will have more success. And once you learn how to operate through your spiritual side, you will have more victory in your life, without a doubt. And a lot of times people don't understand. They're trying to use the law of attraction, trying to use their vision boards, trying to imagine. But what I'm teaching you is with all that principle and truth, which is by far the easiest, and I know that you can agree, the best thing that could ever come to our understanding. But yet we still have to govern our lives and our minds and our beings. And once we know how to position ourselves, put ourselves in a position to be blessed, in a position to overcome, in a position to have the best results, which worketh inwardly, outwardly as well, then you'll see that by being in the right position, you know what you can expect. And my prayer is this: I expect wonderful things to happen to me. And I say it all the time. And any time that you have a negative phrase or sentence or word in your mind, if you don't have the power to control your mind, to stop yourself in mid-flight of thinking, then let it fly and let it flow through. But always at the end, all you have to do is say, I expect wonderful things to happen to me. Here's a secret. You always get what you think of last, because what you think of last stays and resonates. But here I want to teach you how to stop worrying. And the reason why you need to stop worrying is because here's my definition of worry. I'm trying to do it. And when I'm trying to do something, I don't have the power or know how or have the means, the wherewithal to get it done. That causes me to worry, which adds to the problem that I already have or already think I have. But by withdrawing myself or taking myself out of the equation, looking at it as if I'm not really in it, it's just happening and I'm observing it. Therefore, I don't have to put my personal feeling involved in it that much. It is something that I'm just observing and is passing and not really attached to me. Then now I have the power to manipulate that, to change that, but most importantly, to stop myself from worrying. When you worry, you block spirit and God from working in your life, because that is a fleshly and a physical attribute of trying to get it done. As long as you're trying to do it, God can't do it because you're hindering. So you have to learn how to stop hindering your blessings, standing in your way. And the best thing to do is to not worry, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what it feels like. This is the power of being able to control your thoughts and control your feelings. If you control your thoughts, you will control your world. If you control your feelings, you will create your world. In order to do that, worry will sink in when it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to happen. But that's when you have to step back and allow time to have its course. All right? It's not if God's going to do it anymore. It's just when God's going to do it. And knowing that God's going to do it is really the best thing of all. Because knowing that God's going to do it is what you want anyway. But you may not know when or how. But when you allow God to do it in his own time and give yourself time to know it's going to work out, you will be a champion of your own success. A lot of times things don't go the way I want it to go or I'm looking for it to go. But because I know I have the power to create and to change it, I step back, don't worry about what it seemed like or what just happened. But I know that very thing that just happened can change. The person can come back, change their mind about supporting me, or may feel willing to work with me. That situation may alter itself completely, where it was once going left and all of a sudden it starts coming right and going the way I want it to go. And sometimes it takes 1 or 2 days for that to happen. But the key thing is, in that between time, in the meantime, you have to not worry or be afraid of what you just heard or what just happened or what just seemed to be in your pathway. You must learn how to stop worrying. I do want to add also, when I am teaching or you're receiving these truths, you may not be able to do that right away. And remember, a lot of things you've gotten yourself into are just happening in your life, and you might just be discovering this great creative power within you and your power of the imagination and your faith walk and your prayer life and your meditations and your visions, and all the things that you're doing. Don't get upset and don't get frustrated. You have to teach yourself, train yourself. So the key to life is, if you've never done it before, of course it's going to be frightening, it's going to be intimidating. That's because you've never done it before. Sometimes you might tell yourself, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. This is not what I thought. But see, you have to step back and observe and decide, well, maybe I don't want to do it, but why I don't want to do it. And maybe I should change my mind about it. And when you open to change, that's when you're going to get change. A lot of times people want change, but they're not willing to change themselves. And if you're not willing to change yourself, you're not willing to become better or to improve, then you're not going to step up to the level of that which you're trying to become. You must always realize, if you're going to create and you're going to be a blessing and you're going to receive a blessing, The question is, the blessing, do you really want it to come down to you where you were worried and fearful and you didn't think this was going to work? Or do you want to grow to a place where you're more confident, where you're more faithful and you're more empowered? That's what's happening. You got to realize that when you're desiring things, it's not so much everything is changing. You have to change. And when you change and feel and know that you deserve this, you are allowing this. This is right for you. This is what you want. Are you willing to have that kind of faith, to step up to the place and to become that quality individual to receive that quality experience or that quality thing that you're desiring? Okay? So that's what's very important. Let me give you an example about worry. And one of the main things is sometimes people are worried about money and not having enough money. Well, the key thing is, when you don't have enough money, whatever the case may be, a bill may come, a circumstance may come, maybe medical, maybe concerning school, or maybe concerning your car, your home, you put in that which you might need money for. And you might find yourself needing money all the time. Now, you don't want to worry about money, because if you worry about money, then you're going to have the experience of lack of money. But what you have to do, you have to allow yourself to realize that everything comes when you believe it first. You know, people say, let me see it and then I'll believe it. But as the Bible teaches, faith is, you have to believe it first. It means you don't see it and you don't feel it. You actually see lack of and you feel terrible about it. But that's where you decide, I'm going to believe that I have all the money I need, or the situation will work out just fine. Okay, so here's how you do that. You literally sit yourself down, be quiet, close your eyes, and I want you to imagine, what would it be like if you had all the money you wanted or needed in life, and you could do anything and everything you wanted to do? And what would you do? What would you really do? Who would you help? What would you build? What would you get? How would you use it? What bills you would pay off? And when you take the time to practice this, now you may not be able to do this your first time, but don't give up because you can't do it the first time. You just started, but you continue to do it. The more you continue to do it, you're going to break through the lack of not being able to do it, the failing of getting a clear vision of it. But once you allow yourself, and that's the key word, allow yourself to imagine that which doesn't exist as if it already did. And if you really take the time to do that, you're going to find out there's going to come a certain joy. You might have a smile on your face. You may begin to see that things would just be so wonderful and things will work out so well because you have all the money that you need. You're wealthy, you're successful, and go for it. You might as well. You're dreaming anyway. Now, the thing is, if you do that, take a moment to do that and practice that, and then keep on doing it until you're able to see the house clearly. See your house, putting furniture in the house. See your house, see you cleaning the house. These things, in other words, people say you got to see the house, you got to see the car, you got to see what you want. No, but you have to also be doing or activating it already. Don't just see it, but what would you be doing if you had it? That's the level where the breakthrough come in at. A lot of people say just take the picture, and you picturing a picture. Don't picture a picture. Actually bring that house to life. Start cleaning the house. Cut the yard or have somebody cut the yard. Go through the process until you can actually reinvent that over and over again. Okay? And so when you do that, you're going to start feeling good. You're going to start feeling great. Now, you have to allow yourself to do that, because you're saying to yourself, well, why would I do that if I know I have any money? Well, this is where the power of faith and creation come in at. The Bible teaches when you pray to go to the end, which means believe you already have it. And so we find that in our understanding, to believe we already have it, there are certain things we will be doing, and there is a certain way we will be feeling. So how do you actually go to the end? You have to be doing and you have to be feeling. So that's what I'm telling you to do. Remember, I wanted to get a Mercedes, and I really wanted this particular Mercedes, and I was going through the process trying to figure out how. But I knew if I went to the end, so what did I do? I saw my car parked in front of the house, and I'm washing the car. I'm inside, I'm shining it up, I'm putting on the shiny on the wheels, I'm wiping it down. You see, I'm going through the process. I don't even have the car. Don't even know how I'm going to get the car. But I continue to see myself doing what I would be doing, not just seeing it, but now I am living in and acting with that I desire. And I tell you what wonderful experience I had when I was actually cleaning, wiping the inside down, and shining the wheels of my brand new Mercedes. Just like that. Now, I didn't worry about where the money was coming from. I didn't worry about how the money was coming, what I needed to do, if my credit was good or not. Forget all those things. See, a lot of times people haven't caught on to, you sometimes are imagining how to do something. Don't imagine or go to the end of how I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And this is where worry is all about. You're figuring out how to do it, and you see there's no really way to start doing what you're trying to do, because the many steps that this life and what you're thinking will come, and it will become a burdensome situation. But faith says go to the end. Don't go to how to get to the end. I hope you understand what I'm saying. You know, this is what Neville said. He said, don't wish for something, wish from it. You're from that you already have it. And it took me a minute to catch on to that. And I kept repeating that to myself, because this is things, not only did I never hear it before like that, but I couldn't even wrap my mind around it, But when I finally caught on to what he was saying, and then what the word said, I had to, experience. So it takes time. You just don't give up. When you know something is right, something is good. In the meantime, between time, just keep on practicing. You got to practice. Then you'll get good at it. Okay? We're not expecting for you to just listen to what we're saying and just turn it on. It's going to work. It's not going to do that. For some, it may, but others, it's going to take some time because you're yet catching on. This is a process. This is why the Bible teaches about being born again. The very premise of being born again, just like this picture, this little baby cub covering one eye as if, it could be playing or it could be afraid. But regardless of it, it has to grow into its lioness, its lion power. It's being the king of the jungle, not afraid of anything. It has to grow into that, And so you have to grow into your faith, into your creative power, into what you believe that you should have, can have. But you must understand, you must give it the time, and you must hold fast to it. And when you don't change your mind and you don't change your vision, you're going to see things coming to pass. Okay, getting back to feel it, believe it, and start thinking about it. Now, once you have captured that happy feeling, that joy that I have all the money, what would it be like? And then you capture that. That's the key. Hold on to that feeling. Keep going back to that. Boy, it makes me feel good to know this. Make me feel good to get into that new home. Make me feel good that I'm going to be able to pay this bill. I often tell people, if you have a bill, for instance, you may have a mortgage bill, a car, or whatever the case may be. How would you pay that? Would you pay that online? Would you pay that with a credit card? Would you use a check, a money order? Whatever you would do, see yourself already going into and sending that money off to that car note, sending that money off to that mortgage. See yourself paying it already. See yourself putting it in the envelope, writing the address, sealing it, and dropping it in the mail. You see how you are completing the process? You're going to the end. I do this all the time. And I don't even worry about how I'm going to get. And this is when I don't have the money. This is when things were difficult. Things were tight. And boy, it wasn't right. But I would go to the end as if it was already done, because I learned one thing for sure, two things for certain. Don't worry about how it's going to come, who it's going to come from, or where it's going to come. And trust me, that's a terrible feeling to think I'm not going to be able to meet this need. This is going to be, I'm going to have to give up. I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to do this. Oh, the mind will drive you crazy if you let it. But You don't let it, as I teach. It is not a battlefield. It is a battleship. You have the wherewithal, the power, and the guns, the might, and the principles, and the wisdom, and the knowledge. You have the mind to change any situation. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to just give you some examples because I'm just teaching you out of experience right now. There was a time I had a dream. And let me tell you something, I interpret dreams also. So if you contact me, want to talk about a dream you're having or some spiritual blockage or stagnation or limitation, you can use the comments. You can go to our Facebook group or however you feel like contacting me. I put my website there so you can reach out. We want to help as many people as we can. And if I can, I will. Or at least point you in the directions where you can get some help. Isn't that wonderful? Now, here's the thing. When you dream of animals, you're usually dreaming of a mate or a loved one, somebody in your life. If you dream of dogs or dream of cats or somebody you either met, been with, or talked to as a relationship. So watch what happens in that dream with that animal that you may have. Some animals may try to bite you and some animals may be kind to you. And that might indicate that this person in your life is somebody you're trying to get away from, trying to come back and trying to bring you into a place and do things with you you're not trying to do anymore. And others may just be kind, nice, and get along with them, and that may go any kind of way. Just certain things like that there. But also, when you dream of houses, that means spiritual growth. Are you growing wiser? Are you developing your power and your inner being strength? So you may see yourself dreaming of homes and moving forward, moving up in the world, going out and doing big and better things. Let me explain something to you. One time I had a dream that I was in this home, but when I came out the home and getting ready to come back, it burned down to the ground. And I woke up with this house being burnt to the ground. Now, in my lack of understanding in the past, that would have been a terrible thing because I didn't know that houses represent spiritual growth or development or moving forward. But if this house burned down, that means something's about to go left or something's not going to go right. But I had no worries when I woke up because why? I was able to control my mind and know that no matter what happens, let me give you something that you should write down and remember. There's nothing in this world that cannot change. Let me say it again. There's nothing in the universe that cannot change. That means if you have a sickness, no doctor can tell you how many weeks or months or years you're going to live. They may be guesstimating and estimating, but they don't know for sure because you have that power and that decision making in your own self. Once you know who you are, no matter what it looks like, they say this is the way it is. There's nothing we can do. There's no way changing it. That can be changed also because you're not operating in the natural realm where they can't see further than their nose sometime or what's in front of them, but you know you have the power to manipulate the very powers that be because God gave you that right to call those things that be not as his son and daughter, as his creation, as a breathed in man, and you became a living soul, and that life of breath of spirit and power is in you. God has given to every man a measure of faith. I'm just trying to let you know you are also one of those great individuals as well. Here's what happened. I closed my eyes and I began to see the dream in my mind. And every time I saw it burn down, how did I change the outcome of that circumstance? I built me another house, but this time I built in my mind's eye, in my imagination, a bigger and better house. The dream was the house I was in burned down. But how did I have the power over that? I began to imagine every time I thought about the dream. And usually when you think about a dream, often it means something. Some dreams come and go. But if it stick to you, you need to pay attention to it. Ask Spirit to interpret it to you. But if you don't like the outcome, you can change the outcome because that's the power that worketh within you. Again, it burned down. Didn't look good. So I imagine when it burned down, I rebuild and I build a bigger, better, and more beautiful home that was in my dream. And let me tell you something. I didn't skip a beat, so I don't know what happened, when happened, but everything happened for me because I expect wonderful things to happen to me. Okay? Now, I want you to detach yourself from anything that you're worrying. Okay. And when you begin to understand this mind power, controlling your thoughts, controlling your mind, this is the ability that God gave you. This is what Jesus gave you. And here's my definition of Jesus Christ. Jesus means that whatever he did, you can do. He came to awaken our spiritual side, to let us know that we're not just some people walking on earth till we die, but we have power, and we're going to be creating and moving on when we transition to greater and more creative things as well. So you might as well start now, because when you move on into the spiritual realm and to the next life, you're going to be creating and going to be in authority. If you read your Bible, if you trust some of the words that come in the Word of God, I trust it all. It's up to you what you want to pick and choose. That's your right. I'm just teaching you the truth of what I discover in life as I live and as I am creating my walk in life every day, right? So keep this in mind. Detach yourself from your worries. Don't worry. And let me tell you something. When you stop worrying, then God will do it. Well, if you stop worrying, then Spirit will take over. Now that's the hardest thing to do, right? But that's the key. You have to decide within yourself to stop worrying. Okay, one more example. And that is, remember one time I got some bad news and it was frightening. And I got some confirmation from different ones. It's not looking good. I felt some type of threat, some type of danger coming, some type of losing something I was working on, trying to do. I don't know. It was something serious. But through the process, I had to wait what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen the day after that. I mean, worry was coming in. And of course, when you worry, see, fear and worry has the ability of making you create and to imagine things. That's why you don't want to fear. That's why fear is so powerful. Love and fear are the two powerhouses. But fear, it dominates this world. Let's just put it like that. So therefore, when you fear, you are going to quickly begin to imagine the worst. That's why you got to stop fearing. And if you want to be powerful, you must be fearless. And you can create that ability just like you can build up your self-esteem. You can encourage yourself if you understand how to use your encouragement and your power within you and the kingdom within you. You have to think on these things that are more positive, more upbeat, more loving and kind. You see what I'm saying? Stay away from the negative, and you'll find yourself moving into a more faithful environment and mental state. Now, the point I'm trying to bring out now is that when you find yourself in that fearful and that worry state of being, what you want to do is begin to know that if you're worrying, then the Spirit and divine intelligence in God, he can't work. So you have to give him faith, which means you have to literally say, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. So when I had this trouble that came my way, I started writing down, I expect wonderful things to happen to me. And you can write it down too. 15 times for the number 15 reverse curses. These are just things you pick up. Anytime you're picking up truth, anytime you're picking up something that help and benefit, if Spirit tell you to hold on to it, this is how I learned. Tell me, you heard that? They're talking about a lot of stuff, but did you hear that one point? Write that down. Remember that. So when you hear something that is good and you're seeking and you're desiring to grow, you're trying to be your best, then you must be listening and always seeking and knocking and ready to receive when Spirit puts something in your mind, your pathway. Go back and check it out. Let me add that to my understanding. Here's what I did. I began to write down, I expect wonderful things to happen to me 15 times. I promise you, before you finish writing it, the atmosphere will change and the circumstances will change as well. Giving it to hundreds and thousands of people has not failed yet. If you write that down, you'll find out that people start doing things for you for free. Everybody who has used that and used that often, find out people buy them lunch, buy them clothes, take them out, travel on trips, just do stuff. And they say, well, I ain't got the money. And they say, I didn't ask you if you had any money. Just come along. I'm going to pay for everything. And they're shocked to find out how much grace and blessing come their way because they expect wonderful things to happen to them. But let me say, when this trouble was coming my way, I began to pray. Okay. I began to meditate on oh God, what am I going to do? This is so frightening. This is so terrible. And I remember Spirit speaking to me. He said, you got another side of you. I said, okay. He said, check your spirit man. And I know how to check my spirit man. How do I check my spirit man? Well, in the Bible, they lay hands on your head, or churches and people pray for you. They pray for you and they lay hands on the forehead and they lay hands on your belly. The reason why they do that, because the crown of your thoughts in your mind is on your head, your forehead, right? And so they pray for your mind, they pray for your head. And then the belly is where your solar plex lies, but where your spirit dwells is in your belly part, down in the belly. And if you get nervous, you have butterflies, you fall in love, you can feel it in your belly. Okay? And when you get stressed and you get painful, you can, your head start hurting. You see, these two parts are very, 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 very important to be very conscious of. Nonetheless, I checked my spirit man by checking how I felt in my belly. I mean, I heard the bad news. I began to imagine the bad news. I began to get other people giving me confirmations of the bad news. But when I checked my belly and my spirit, it was just as calm and peaceful. Still water runs deep. The wave and the storm was outside. But deep down within, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't upset inside. Although everything was pointing to, you need to be careful, you need to be upset, you need to worry. But when I checked my spirit man, he was calm. And the Spirit said to me, I don't care what they say, I don't care what you think, it's already great. It's already all right. And I'm telling you something. I said, Lord, I'm going to believe you because I want to be able to teach this too. I'm just like you. And what I can do, you can do also. And that's what Jesus said. What I do, you can do also. And so therefore, I found that there was victory in me allowing myself to check my inner being and my spirit. It told me don't worry about it. And I'm telling you something. It went away like a cloud that said it was going to rain and no rain came. But what would have happened if I would have continued to stress myself out and worried? Oh, I could have made myself a wreck. A sickness could have came upon me because I'm drawing that negativity to me. I'm allowing myself to worry for no reason. But worry brings and draws things to you. So therefore, you don't want to fear and you don't want to worry. All right? So keep that in mind. You want to stop worrying. And we can teach you and share with you how and the principles to use to get that worry out of your system and out of your mind. Because if you worry, then you're feeling it and you're going to create that. But if you learn how to change your feelings, change your mind, you can also stop yourself from worrying. So what you're going to start doing from now on is when people ask you what you do for a living, apart from what you actually do for a living, you can also say, yeah, it's something else I do. I work on not worrying. If you work on not worrying, your life will go great. You'll see miracles all the time, and you can expect wonderful things to happen. Grace and peace.